For 30 years, the galaxy's fiercest huntress never missed a kill, until fate marked her lover as the prey. The legend of Lyra Valen stretched across the stars like a shadow. For 30 years, she had been the galaxy's most feared bounty hunter, an unerring huntress who never missed her target. From the slums of the Curious Belt to the glittering spires of the Council Worlds, her name was whispered like a curse. Smugglers feared her. Warlords respected her. And even the Syndicate paid her in silence, never daring to cross her. There was no target she could not find, no quarry she could not break. Her rifle had spoken across continents, her blade had ended rulers, and her record was unblemished. But fate, cruel and strange, has a way of twisting even legends. And Lyra's 30 years of perfection ended with one name, one contract, one man, the man she loved. The beginning. Lyra's career had begun in blood. Born on the mining colony of Isra Prime, she grew up amid rust, hunger, and the endless echo of drills. Her parents were killed in a syndicate raid when she was just a child, and she survived by wit, blade, and raw fury. By 16, she was already feared. By 20, she had killed the syndicate captain who murdered her parents. By 30, she was no longer just a survivor. She was the most sought-after hunter in the outer reaches. But Lyra lived by one rule: no attachments. She kept her ship, the Revenant, empty of company. She never lingered after a job. She never let herself grow close. Her life was contracts, kills, and the silence of space. Until Drax. She met him on a hunt that should have been routine, a smuggler with debts too large, hiding in a forgotten asteroid outpost. She found him, cornered him, leveled her rifle, and he smiled at her. "You're fast," he said calmly, as if death wasn't a breath away. "But not as fast as me making you regret this." What should have ended in blood turned into a standoff, and then something stranger. Over drinks in the ruined outpost, she discovered Kalen was no ordinary smuggler. He was clever, charming, and maddeningly alive in ways she hadn't felt in decades. One night turned into weeks, weeks into months. She found herself laughing, sparring, even dreaming again. Against her own iron rule, she let him in. And for the first time in 30 years, Lyra Valen felt human. The contract came in quiet, like all the others. A message on her encrypted console. No fanfare, no theatrics. Just a name, a bounty, and the promise of pay. She read it once, twice, 3 times. Target: Drax. Status: high priority. Alive or dead. Her blood turned to ice. The syndicate had marked him. It made sense. Kalen had always danced too close to danger, too many debts, too many enemies. But of all the hunters in the galaxy, why her? Was it coincidence? Or was it punishment? The universe laughing at the woman who believed herself untouchable? For the first time in her career, Lyra hesitated. She could ignore it, walk away. But in her world, refusing a syndicate contract was suicide. They would hunt her instead. They would send others after Kalen, hunters with less mercy. The choice cut her in half. Hunt him and destroy the only person she had ever let herself love. Or refuse and destroy herself and perhaps him anyway. She sat for hours in the cockpit of the Revenant, staring at the endless stars, the contract blinking on her console. For the first time in 30 years, the galaxy's deadliest huntress didn't know what to do. The hunt. In the end, she told herself a lie. She would find Kalen, but not to kill him. She would warn him, protect him, maybe even fake his death and vanish with him beyond syndicate reach. That was the plan. But as every hunter knows, Plans die the moment the chase begins. Kalen was already moving, already hiding. He knew the syndicate was after him, though perhaps not who they had sent. Each step Lyra took, each world she traced him through, sharpened the knife twisting inside her chest. She found the places he had slept, the people who whispered his name, the traces of his ship in the void. Every instinct screamed that she was the predator closing in. But every heartbeat reminded her she was also the woman who loved him. Finally, after weeks of pursuit, she cornered him again. The setting was poetic, the same kind of forgotten outpost where they had first met. He stood in the shadows, pistol in hand, his eyes catching hers across the ruin. "Lyra," he said softly. "Of course it's you." Her rifle was steady. Her hands were not. "You knew," she whispered. Kalen's smile was sad. "I've lived my whole life running." It was only a matter of time before they sent their best. She lowered the rifle, torn in half. "I'm not going to kill you." "Then they'll kill you," he said simply. "And still come for me. That's what they do." Betrayal. Before she could answer, the syndicate arrived. Dozens of ships dropped from orbit, black and red banners filling the sky. The outpost shook as mercenaries poured in, weapons ready. Lyra realized the truth too late. The contract had been a trap. They hadn't just wanted Kalen. They had wanted her, the huntress who had never failed, who had grown too powerful, too independent. By forcing her to hunt the man she loved, they broke her rule, broke her focus, broke her perfection. Now they would take them both. The firefight was chaos. Lyra fought like a storm, her rifle cracking, her blade flashing. Kalen fought at her side, just as fierce, their movements a deadly dance. But the syndicate's numbers were endless. Explosions tore the outpost apart. Smoke and fire filled the air. And Lyra knew they could not win. Not together. She grabbed Kalen's arm, dragging him toward the last functioning ship on the pad. "Go," she shouted. He shook his head. "Not without you. You'll die if you stay," she screamed. "And if you die, then everything I've fought for means nothing." He looked at her one last time, eyes burning with love and sorrow. Then, without another word, he ran. The ship roared into the stars. Lyra turned back to face the syndicate alone. The ending. They called it her first failure. The galaxy whispered that Lyra Valen, the huntress who never missed, had finally lost her prey. The syndicate declared her rogue, a fugitive, a traitor. Hunters who once feared her now stalked her as quarry. But Lyra didn't care. In the silence of her battered ship, she replayed that final moment, the look in Kalen's eyes as he escaped, the unspoken promise between them. Somewhere in the vastness of space, he was alive. And as long as he lived, so did she. Her record was broken. Her legend tarnished. But for the first time in 30 years, Lyra Valen had something more important than perfection. She had love. And the syndicate would learn, sooner or later, that the deadliest huntress in the galaxy was at her most dangerous, not when she hunted for pay, but when she hunted for the one she could not lose.